Welcome back, guys, to the CFP Rundown. Today, I'm one of your hosts, JT Hill, and then we got Quinn Bewley over there. And today, we're just going to be breaking down all the CFP games from the first round, which we're really only going to break down two main ones. We'll break down two other ones, but they're not going to be as detailed. And yeah, let's just get right into it. This is probably the toughest one for me personally to pick. It's Alabama versus Oklahoma. And just right off the bat, these two teams, like whenever you just think about them, like they're the definition of an 8 and 9. In March Madness, that's the game where you're just like, I don't even know who to pick. I'm just gonna coin flip it. That's what it is at the end of the day. And this is such a tough one to pick for me personally. And both of their offenses have been struggling. I would say Oklahoma has been worse. Obviously, Alabama had that game against Georgia and they just got completely creamed. But I think Oklahoma has had a little bit more of the struggles because they haven't scored a lot. John Mateer has not been the player that we thought he was going to be. I think it's because of that hand injury, if I'm not mistaken. But he just has not been the same. Ty Simpson hasn't been crazy, but this guy still threw for 26 touchdowns. 26 total touchdowns, and that's a ton. But their defenses are both like kind of insane. Like when I say insane, it's like crazy. Oklahoma just does not let people score on them. And the reason why Oklahoma beat Alabama earlier in their year was because of the defense, and their defense played kind of insane. And let's remember that Oklahoma had to play at Alabama in that game. So for them to go to Alabama and win was kind of crazy. But yeah, so definitely some crazy games. They beat LSU 17-3. They beat Missouri 17-6. They beat Alabama 23-21. They just don't score a ton. And at the end of the day, if their defense can just hold them up, they have a chance to win the Natty. And because what's the saying? Defense wins championships. Their defense is legit. Now, I think Oklahoma has a great chance to win this game and potentially go beat Indiana if John Mateer can just be average. Because so far, in the second, maybe last 3 quarters of the season, 2 to 3 quarters, he has not been average. He's been below average, and that's what Oklahoma's going to need. Now, he did throw for, I think, 300 yards against LSU, but he threw 3 picks. So he's going to have to be smart with the ball, and if he's smart with the ball, I think that they can win this game. This is a great question. I don't need to go through any of the other Alabama wide receivers. I think the biggest X factor in this game, throwing it out there, is Ryan Williams. And the more and more that like he gets the ball less, the more and more that I'm like, dude, this guy's awesome, because I haven't heard anything from Ryan Williams on like social media, on radio shows, on like any of that stuff where he's not pulling an AJ Brown, and he's like 8 years younger than AJ Brown. He's not whining that he's not getting the ball. He's thanking God for the opportunity that he gets to play football, and I'm like, bro, that's a dog right there. I thought Ryan Williams was always overrated, but just that, I'm like, dude, that's awesome. But other than that, Ryan Williams still is a great player. Let me say this: if he can eliminate those drops, he's a top 5 wide receiver. But those drops definitely bump him down to top 15, maybe even top 20 receiver. This season, there's an argument for him to not even be there. But last season, he had a pretty good season, and he's got this, honestly. He is really good after the catch. And so I think that if they do some screen passes to him, I think that they could do something. And then obviously Jeremy Bernard, he has not been as crazy. That Georgia game, he did not do anything. And yeah, another thing is running the ball. Jam Miller is out. I feel like Alabama, I always see like Jam Miller. He's barely played for the late couple last weeks. Both teams can't really run the ball, but Yeah, Quinn, what do you got?
So yeah, like JT said, these teams are very similar, elite defenses. You could basically credit each of their seasons. Like their defense, Alabama's defense was the reason they won the Iron Bowl. Oklahoma's defense was the reason they won the Alabama game. And the offenses, they've had moments. Like think back to it's been a long time, but think back to week 2. Oklahoma just beat Michigan off, and John Mateer looks like a Heisman candidate, or basically anywhere pre John Mateer injury. Oklahoma's offense looked incredible. And then Alabama's offense, when they had that 4-game ranked win streak against Vandy, Georgia, Tennessee, I forget who the others were. Ty Simpson just looked like the best quarterback in football. I think he was the Heisman candidate trophy winner. Favorite. That's what I was looking for. Favorite. He was the Heisman Trophy favorite at the time, and they looked really good. But that hasn't been the case towards the end of the year, and it's looking like they peaked at the wrong time. But I've seen glimpses of what the offense can do. So for Oklahoma, one thing that I think could really fix their offense is getting John Mateer in the run game, because he got an injury on his throwing hand, so obviously you wouldn't expect the passing game to be all the way there, which it hasn't been. But pre-John Mateer injury, he was a threat on the ground. He ran all over Michigan, but after his injury, he just really doesn't run the ball as effectively, and I don't know why, because he injured his hand, not his arm. So if they can get some design runs to Mateer early, not late in the game, but early, and set the tone with their run game, with their quarterback run game, because like JT said, they can't really run the ball. I think that's what needs to work. Now, just for Ty Simpson and Alabama, get the playmakers the ball. I completely forgot that Ryan Williams was a person that on Alabama until like a couple weeks ago, when I was like, oh yeah, wait, Ryan Williams is on Alabama. And okay. He hasn't really been doing much. Main things I see is, he dropped a wide open pass. He dropped a touchdown. And before the season, I said he wasn't the best receiver on his team. It was Jeremy Bernard. And I think I've been right about that. Jeremy Bernard has been a better wide receiver than Ryan Williams, but I guess that isn't really true. Talent-wise, just pure talent alone, I think Ryan Williams is up there. Just he struggles with drops. If he could drop the ball, if he could catch the ball, not drop the ball, I think he could be one of the best receivers in college football. But just
Yeah.
he's super athletic. He's great after the catch. And I wonder if it's just a confidence thing, because he drops the ball. He's a young athlete, might get hard on himself. Maybe if they get him a couple of screen passes early on, because he's great after the catch, maybe a spin move, maybe he'll even break one loose. That'll build his confidence, and then eventually you can throw the deep ball, and then he'll start catching it. Maybe that's the click. Alabama does to get their tight end Josh Cuevas back, who is their third down safety valve. He has been very crucial for Alabama's offense as of late, and losing him, you saw in that Georgia game. Third down came, they couldn't really do anything. Now, this is just what I have to say. Whoever wins the turnover battle will win the game. And Alabama's offense, they actually had 400 total yards against Oklahoma's great defense last game, which is surprising because Oklahoma has a great defense. But Oklahoma had 3 turnovers. Not Oklahoma. They forced 3 turnovers. Alabama had 3 turnovers. I think Ty Simpson fumbled through a pick, and Ryan Williams fumbled on a punt return. Oklahoma's defense is great at forcing turnovers. Alabama turns the ball quite a lot. So whoever wins the turnover battle, you can just throw all the other stats out of the way. Yeah, they won the yardage edge by 200. Yeah, they had more first downs, plays. So just if you lose the turnover battle, none of that really matters. So my pick, Alabama, I predict that their offense will turn the corner, win this game, and look somewhat like the Alabama offense during their 4-game win streak. I don't know if this is going to happen. This is just my prediction, which would be shocking because Oklahoma has a great defense. I just think Alabama off after a loss usually fixes something, and they've done that throughout the season. I think they do it again. Maybe their offense will turn a corner. That's my prediction. JT, who do you have in this game?
I got Oklahoma 20-17 winning the game, and I think it's because John Mateer is just going to play that much better, barely better than Ty Simpson, but their defense is going to play better. And I think if Oklahoma can just be average, completely average, running the ball, passing the ball, their special teams can be average, and they just let their defense do the work. Dang, bro, these AirPods keep falling out. My hat keeps messing up with them. I think Oklahoma wins this game. And I could see it going either way, but currently I have Oklahoma. Texas A&M versus Miami. That's going to be an interesting one, and Quinn can go on running the ball. This is what I've been thinking the entire time. Quinn has it written down already. Who is going to be having the least turnovers? Because I guarantee you, mark my words, there's going to be at least 2 turnovers this game. Taking the over on the 2 turnovers. That is what I'm concerned about, because both these quarterbacks have not been that great on not turning the ball over. Their decisions have not been that great. Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions against Louisville. Should have been 5. There was a pick that Louisville had. It was in their hands, and they dropped it. Pretty sure he threw 2 picks against SMU. So those 2 losses alone, he threw 6 interceptions. So if Carson Beck throws 2 or more interceptions, I think Texas A&M will win this game. And at the end of the day, I could completely see Miami pulling off of South Carolina and being up 30-3 at halftime, just because of how explosive their offense can be. But at the end of the day, it's a playoff game at Kyle Field. I do not want to be playing there. It's going to be a crazy game, honestly. And KC Concepcion is definitely going to be a factor for Texas A&M. But I want to see who steps up for Miami. They definitely have a lot of threats. I think your thing's going off again, Quinn, your smoke alarm. They definitely have a lot of threats on the outside and on their receivers. But are they going to be able to run the ball? I'm very excited to see that. And I think probably biggest X factor for me is going to be Reuben Bain Jr. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because Le'Veon Moss might be back. I'm just going to see how they stop the run. I think it could be a very high-scoring game. But honestly, because if this was at Miami, I think it would be such a closer game. I got Texas A&M winning I don't know. I got Texas A&M winning 30-20. It's definitely a weird score, but weird scores are just part of college football. And I don't see Miami having enough firepower, and I think they do have enough firepower. I just don't see Carson Beck not turning the ball over. So, yeah, Quinn, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll just basically piggyback on that. If you're a quarterback if you're Carson Beck if you're Carson Beck or if you're Marcel Reed, just don't give the ball to the other team. So I'm just going to talk about the run game real quick.
Just keep going.
So annoying. The smoke alarm is going off, and it's really loud. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about running the ball. So Miami's run defense might be the best in the country. They don't allow teams to run the football on them. Texas A&M's run game, it's been not the greatest. It's been average, and they want to run the ball, but they really haven't because their running back room has been injured. But Le'Veon Moss, their starting running back, might be back. He's questionable for the game, so that'll be a huge upgrade. Miami has not the greatest run game, and Texas A&M's run defense is just slightly above average. My prediction, I don't think either team runs the ball very effectively. I think Miami's defense will shut the run game down, and I just don't think that Miami's going to be able to run the ball, which will leave it to the 2 quarterbacks to beat them through the air. Now, A&M has a bunch of weapons that they can get. KC Concepcion and Mario Craver are the 2 that everybody mentions, but a new receiver that has been coming through as of late, and that's the true freshman Ashton Bethel Roman. He's been very valuable in the receiving game. He's put up better numbers than Mario Craver has in the past few weeks, so he's going to get going too. And Miami, they have Malachi Toney. He is just a special player who can do very special things. Elite speed, great hands. He can do it all for Miami. So he's going to get going. Like JT said, which quarterback can I trust? Because I can't fully trust either of them. It seems like Marcel Reed averages 2 interceptions per game. And we've seen Carson Beck single-handedly lose a game for them. That Louisville game that JT mentioned, he threw 4 picks, should have been 5. And SMU game, 2 picks. Marcel Reed, he throws a lot of interceptions. He fumbles sometimes too. His main X factor is his legs on Miami's defense. I don't think that's going to get it done. So who will be the better passer, pocket passer, make better decisions? Give me Marcel Reed in Texas A&M. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, defensive battle. It could go high-scoring if both of these offenses just want to go nuclear, but I just don't see that happening. But I think Marcel Reed and A&M is going to game plan. Mike Elko is going to game plan for a slow but methodical method down the field. And maybe they'll get 3 points, maybe they'll get 7, but eventually whoever will score the most points will win, and I think that'll be A&M. Whoever is going to not turn the ball over will win, and I don't think Marcel Reed is going to have any turnovers, and I think Carson Beck will have more than 2. That's my prediction. I am going to say A&M wins 20-14.
Okay, so we're actually not. I don't think we can predict the entire thing because I actually have to go. My dad just texted me, but let's finish the first round because I still want to finish the first round up. Mm-hmm. We're not going to go deep dive in this one. We might make another podcast tomorrow doing our second round games, but I kind of like the idea of going first round this week. Next week we're going to go second round. Second round is until January, so me and Quinn will probably both be in the same podcast, like same camera on that one, because Quinn will be here. So maybe we'll do one. We'll probably have to do it a little bit earlier, though, because you fly. Yeah, we're going to have to do that earlier. But, yeah, we will do second round probably a couple days after Christmas. And, yeah, but let's just talk about Tulane, Ole Miss, and James Madison in Oregon. Now, we can talk about James Madison, Oregon first. I don't even know why this one's a night game. I wish the night game could have been Miami, Texas A&M, but I understand it, whatever. But definitely an interesting game, JMU, Oregon. I'm just going to tell you, I have Oregon and Ole Miss winning their games already. But let's just still talk about it because there's a very small chance that there's one of them could win. And I think JMU, they're a pretty good team. They have one loss, and it's to Louisville. I think they're 12-1. I don't know much about them. I know that they do like to use 2 of their QBs a lot. And yeah, James Madison, here's what the only reason why I think that they could win is I saw them on like their video whenever they got picked to be in the CFP and they were going crazy. So like they might be able to carry that hype over. I think there's a shot that Oregon loses this, but at the end of the day, I don't think that also. So, Quinn, what do you got?
All right, so I'm going to say I have Oregon, no-brainer, but James Madison does have a way. They're going to need a couple of turnovers go their way by Dante Moore, maybe some fumbles, and they have a running back, Wayne Knight, 1,263-yard rusher off of only 190 carries. He averages 6.6 yards per carry. Yes, he's playing Sun Belt competition, but 6.6 yards per carry is a lot. So if they can run the ball effectively, maybe they have a chance. Maybe they're going to need some help to stop Oregon's electric offense, which I don't know if they can, but they're going to need a little bit of turnover help and the help from Wayne Knight to basically I'm not going to say do what Cam Scatterby did, because no one can do what Cam Scatterby did, but just how a running back or a single player can take over a game. Because Alonzo Barnett, James Madison quarterback, he's all right, but he's not going to win this game. It's going to be Wayne Knight. So he's going to have an absolute day, and then they're going to have some turnovers go their way. But ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen. Give me Oregon pretty dominantly.
Okay, and then next we got Tulane and Ole Miss. This is the one that I think actually could happen because this game already did happen. And I think this is the biggest one that could be upset. But I think Ole Miss, they're going to obliterate Tulane more than JMU loses to Oregon. And it's because Ole Miss has a lot of fire right now. They just lost their head coach. I like this Tulane team, but I don't think that Jake Retzloff is going to be able to do much to beat this heavily fire-powered offense of Ole Miss. And, yeah, I got Ole Miss winning.
Yeah, I have Ole Miss winning. Say that out of the gate. How can Tulane win this game? Or just to make it somewhat interesting, like JT said, Ole Miss has a very explosive offense. They go fast-paced. They play with tempo. They can break an 80-yard passing touchdown like an instant. And I will say, outside of probably Julian Sayin and the Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza, I think Trinidad Chambliss is the third best quarterback in the college football playoff. I think he is extremely underrated, and he has the composure to do it. He won a state championship. He won a championship at Ferris State. So how can Tulane pull it off? They're just going to have to slow the game down. Their offensive game plan is quarterback runs with Jake Retzloff. They aren't super explosive, but they just need to slow the game down and control the game tempo. And that's going to be a lot of work because Tulane's defense isn't the greatest. Their secondary isn't that good. And Ole Miss has a plethora of weapons that they can beat them with. And ultimately, I do think this might be more of a blowout than the original matchup wherein Ole Miss beat them by 35, just because I think that Ole Miss matches up very well against Tulane, and like JT said, just the ultimate firepower that they have with their coach leaving. These players know that, like, yeah, our coach left us. We are the only people. We're fighting for Ole Miss's name, and we're fighting for a national championship. And that's why I think that they could potentially go on a run. And I think Ole Miss is going to make a statement, however you want to say that, by completely beating the brakes off of Tulane.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. And, yeah, I'm super excited to watch the CFP. Hopefully y'all been watching all those bowl games. I'm JT, that's Quinn checking out. See ya.